My third pregnancy was a surprise. I was driving to work one morning and I felt some familiar movements in my tummy, and I immediately knew what that was. At the time, I was about 4.5 months along. I had just completed my doctorate and I was just focused on what's next. So I called my OBGYN right away, and she was able to calm my nerves. She had a plan within my first visit. When I first saw my daughter, I cried. I cried. It was such a relief to see her, to know that, 4.5 months prior, I didn't know that she had existed, and to see that she was perfect. She had everything that, she had her toes, her fingers, her nose. She was beautiful. So when I was in the hospital, I did the pre-screening for postpartum depression. My scores were very low. I remember I think it was 10 to 15 questions. And I remember vividly going through the questions and really analyzing them, saying, well, these are two separate moods in one question. Why are they asking me if I'm depressed and if I'm anxious at the same time? When I got home, I think mentally, I thought I was prepared for what's to come because I had done it before. The first few days, like with any pregnancy, there were ups and downs, and it was a struggle. It was 4 days after she was born. I was home actually for about 2 days at that point. And I remember standing up in the living room and getting off the couch and walking to the bedroom, and a thought just, you have thoughts that come in and out, but I remember this one coming over, and it just came in and went. I have 1 more week of help, and then I would be on my own. I would have to do this all on my own. And the thought went, but then my body started to do things that I didn't fully understand. So I started feeling nauseous. I felt like my head was swinging. I felt like I was about to pass out. I felt like I needed to go to the bathroom. I just felt ill. And I remember telling my husband that there's something wrong and I need to go back to the hospital. And he said to me, well, why don't you take a shower and eat something? And if you still feel this way, we will go to the ER and have you checked out. And that was really the beginning of, my months of trying to figure out what was wrong. I had no labels for it, but everyone around me kept saying, oh, it may be postpartum depression. And I'm like, I'm not depressed. I know what depression is. I'm not depressed. That's not it. I sought a diagnosis for what was happening many places, many times. After, my blood pressure kept spiking and I would get these headaches. And, the 3 times I went to the ER, my blood pressure was their concern. They did whatever they needed to do to bring it down, but then they kept saying, look, you have to follow up with your OBGYN. My husband eventually did some research and found a psychiatrist online, and she had an appointment, but that appointment was 2.5 weeks away. So, all this time I was just suffering. She said that you have a panic disorder, which is on the anxiety spectrum. And that blew my mind. I never knew that there was such a thing as postpartum anxiety. There was a baby shower that was being sponsored by the partnership, and that they were going to be having new mom support group meetings at the library. So I jumped at the opportunity. I made sure that I spoke up, and through that, I continued. I went to the new moms support group with Lorraine and the new moms, and I shared there as well. One of the sessions or the discussions we had early on was around the idea of how motherhood changes your identity. I've reflected on that session a lot because I think that this experience certainly changed my identity, right? So yes, I was a mom before. I was a professional before. I had my passions before. But I think having gone through what I did, I have a different purpose. I have a different outlook on what it means to be healthy, what it means to be a mom. I certainly feel that who I am now is a much better version of myself. Sharing my stories to whoever would listen is just my way of saying it's okay to have this, to have this happen, to survive it, to live with it, because once you are healthy, you're still who you were before. For pregnant women, my message to them is the same way that you're developing your birth plan. Develop a plan that includes action step in case you come down with postpartum anxiety, depression, or any of the mood disorders. When you're in the midst of it, it's really, really hard to come up with that strategy that will help you get out of it.